TYT's got a new audio network, guys, and you're gonna love it. We got our existing shows, but on top of that, we've got a whole new slate of shows coming out that are in podcast form, including the Jimmy Dore Show. So now nobody does comedy like Jimmy. He is super aggressive and sometimes harsh and often irreverent, but he's gonna give it to you like he sees it. There's no question about that. So you're gonna love this podcast. He's gonna have some of the top comedians and comedy writers on there. So if you wanna check that out along with the entire audio network, go to tyt.com/audio.
Waiters and waitresses throughout the country are losing shifts and in some cases even getting fired because of these new tabletop tablets that allow customers and patrons to rate them at the end of their meal. So these are typically found at some of the larger restaurant chains like Chili's and Olive Garden, and the employees are complaining that this rating system is unfair for a number of different reasons. So I want to get to that in just a second. But first, let's understand what these tablets are. So one of them is known as Ziosks. The scores are tabulated as an average out of 5 stars. And on the device, it says 4 out of 5 stars being satisfied. But anything less than perfect drags a score down and has the potential to hurt the server. So I'll give you a few examples. Here are some specific employees who spoke out about this. When Felicia Hearn's Ziosks scores dropped, the Illinois Smoky Bones location where she worked cut a table from her section, costing her between $30 and $40 a night. Then there was Steve Corso, a former Chili server. A drop in scores meant getting stuck working in the kitchen where he struggled to make his rent. He lives in San Francisco. One person was quoted as saying, "If we get more than 3 write-ups in a certain amount of time, we get terminated." And so some might be thinking, okay, well, I mean, if they weren't good at their job and the patron is complaining about it, I mean, it's on them, isn't it? Except they also get rated on parts of the restaurant that they're not responsible for. So if the food wasn't satisfactory, that's not on them, it's obviously on the chef or the cook in the back. And so they shouldn't be penalized for it, but oftentimes they are. If the food took too long to get to them, it's not really their fault. So they give specific examples like that.
Something's not on the menu.
Exactly, let's say, so one former employee gave an example of Fireball, that really disgusting, like cinnamon drink that makes me sick every time I drink it. They didn't have it, By the way, if you guys are thinking about being a sponsor, Fireball's awesome. Just kidding.
Just kidding, kind of. Okay, I do drink Fireball. Fireball's pretty good.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'll take a Fireball.
Yeah.
I had one during the break.
But like the restaurant didn't have that drink, and so the patron, marked points off of the waiter or waitress, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Okay. I'm the bad guy in this story. Not buying it. So, look, I'm conflicted on it. On the one hand, it does feel like an episode of Black Mirror, where we're all constantly getting rated, and we're in like a cold sweat panic over being rated by our fellow human beings, and there's something a little cruel about that. So I get it, I understand that part. On the other hand, have you been in an Uber and then a taxi recently? I have. Yeah. And in the Uber, well, let's start with the taxi. I went in a taxi. I normally take Ubers and Lyfts. I take a taxi the other day, and it's super hot. Hey, can we get the AC going a little bit? No, whatever, don't care, all right?
He doesn't talk to you, right?
Right, nothing, yeah, doesn't talk to you, yada, yada.
Awesome.
Okay, I hear you, that's up to you whether you like that or not. You go into an Uber and they're like, can I fan you personally? I'll get you water, I'm gonna get you this, I'm gonna get you that. Why? Because they're being rated,
I know, but they're being rated for the job they're doing. Whereas at a restaurant, it's very different. I mean, if you're getting marked down because someone orders a medium rare burger and it comes out medium, that's not fair to you as a waiter and waitress. And we're talking about, like, we always talk about defending the powerless. People who work in the food service industry, they qualify as powerless. A lot of them don't even make minimum wage because of how pay is structured for people who wait on tables. So no, I'm not buying it. I think this is ridiculous. Their jobs are already stressful enough.
You know what though, have you ever, so as a stand-up comedian, those of you who hate when I say that I'm doing it just for you, I was writing a bit on Yelp and I started reading Yelp reviews. And I don't know if you've ever been that bored when you sit down and read Yelp reviews, but what I learned about a lot of places, like people were Yelping and giving people low ratings because the curtains didn't match the drapes.
Yeah, people are
There
the
was
worst.
a crying baby in the restaurant.
Yeah.
So when you are responsible, like, come on, man, if the food is good and the place is clean and they meet code and standard and they can't afford to have the nice drapes that you want or the paintings that you want, should they get a bad rating because of that?
No,
And
people
that's how I
are
feel
so
about it.
vicious. So I used to write
Yelp
negative.
reviews.
Well, I still write Yelp reviews, but I have a rule now. I only write positive Yelp reviews unless someone has really done me wrong, right?
Yeah.
But before,
I'm not buying it.
hold
I
on,
know
hold
you,
on.
Casper.
You guys can check out my Yelp reviews if you want.
Yeah, they're accessible.
They're lovely.
Yeah, they are accessible.
Yeah.
But I realized one time I wrote a really negative one. I was about to publish it, and I realized this could really cost someone their job, and I stopped because at the end of the day, I don't have to ever go back there. And for me, it's better to not ever go to that restaurant again and just save someone their job. Maybe they had a bad day. I don't want that on me. You know what I'm saying?
One of the most pernicious idioms in America is the customer is always right.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's the worst. It
Yeah.
creates the situation where we feel entitled because we have departed with our money that the person in front of us becomes our servant
Yes.
and has to cater to our every whim. And what it does is it creates a culture that's anti-solidaristic, that creates divisions among us. It forces us to compete with each other all the time, which is exactly what they want, obviously, right? Because that makes us weaker on the whole. This is something that is very, very much an American thing. That we are the king when we are at the Chili's, and that they
Yeah.
must do everything in their power to make sure that we are a satisfied customer.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm still gonna fight you guys.
You're the
Okay,
worst.
so on the first, I'll give you guys this. Ben Mankiewicz says this often on the show. Nobody ever calls "How's my driving" to say "fantastic." Right, those little bumper stickers they have
Yeah.
on their cars, right? And Ben does it every once in a while. He'll bother to call up and go, "Your driving's fine."
Nice.
Right, but almost everybody calls and say, "How dare you? You cut me off," etc. So I understand that phenomenon. I understand that. They can't do anything about the baby that's in the restaurant. That's not the waiter's fault that somebody else brought on a baby. What do you want him to be? Donald Trump ripped the baby away from the restaurant and et cetera. I get all that. But look, those ratings, if the manager is shallow enough that 3 ratings came in this afternoon and you're done, well, he's an idiot and you should rate the manager poorly, right? But over a long period of time, they probably are indicative.
Oh, you better check
Okay.
your privilege, okay?
So-
because what you just said right now is such a Republican talking point. Well, if you don't like the way your boss is treating you, then it's free market. Just quit and go work somewhere else.
No,
That's
I didn't say
that's
that.
How it
No,
came
I didn't
off.
say that. Maybe arguably what I said is worse. No, so what I'm
Right.
saying
Yeah,
is,
it's like leave
No.
your manager a bad rating. See what happens when you do that.
Yeah.
It's spoken like a true boss.
But are the
Yeah.
managers? Are the
No one's
managers
ever gonna
getting
do that.
rated? Are the
It's like
managers
when you're
getting
asked to.
rated?
No, of course they're not.
So-
Managers
It's like,
aren't getting
yeah,
rated
my boss,
at all.
he's
no, but look, guys, you need a way to evaluate the workers, right? You do, and so you could either do it by gut, like which then leads the manager to have more power and to some degree more indiscriminate power. I like the way that person looks. I don't like the way that person talks, etc. Because they're making decisions. They're making decisions on who gets what shifts, how many shifts do they get, and are they hired or not hired.
You think the
So
general public isn't gonna do that? That's worse.
Yeah, so that's a great point, Ida. It is. So these are all good points. This is not a black and white issue where you guys are all 100% wrong and I'm 100% right, which is normally the case, but not in this case. No, but in all seriousness, but what it does do is it does democratize it to some degree for better and for worse. So
I don't want
do you see what I'm
anyone-
saying?
Yeah, I don't want anybody serving me to be paranoid and nervous because you're going to be subject. It's the manager's job to employ a competent crew. It's the manager's job, not the public. Do you understand how moody some people are? I watch other customers and sometimes I overtip my server because another customer treated them bad or another server. You know what I mean? It's just you're putting power in the wrong hands, and it is like that Black Mirror episode. And everywhere we go, now even comedians are rated on Yelp. And so now the Laugh Factory is rated about if somebody comes in and they don't like cursing, they write reviews and they give the club a bad rating. So the club doesn't want to book the comedians because they got a bad rating because somebody who doesn't like cursing came to a comedy.
I know.
It turns us all
ridiculous.
into snitches. It creates anxiety in the culture.
Yes, yes.
You know, like it leads to just you're constantly being like everything you do. I've
just
never.
wanna live.
You just live your life.
Yeah.
You know, like
Stop
like a bad
obsessing over
experience.
how you can tear someone else down. And Jake, like think about it in this context, in our context. Imagine you're not, someone who has any power in the company. You're just an employee, right? Can you imagine if someone comes to you and says, "Hey, Cenk, we're not going to let you host the main show anymore because a bunch of viewers were complaining about how they don't like the titles to the videos. You don't title the videos, right? So why are you going to face the consequences for that?"
Yeah, look, these are all good points.
Very good points.
The best points.
Tremendous points.
Best points. Yeah.
So I get all that, guys, but the manager's gonna make a decision on who gets the shifts and who has the job and who doesn't have the job. Us not having to see that is kind of us not wanting to see how the sausage is made. So then we feel better about ourselves, but those decisions get made anyway, and that guy is gonna have half his salary and not be able to pay his rent anyway, based on because somebody's gonna have the waiter job and somebody's gonna have the dishwasher job. And so those are the realities. Look, on the other hand, I do agree with you guys that I feel bad about it. I don't want to be put in that position as a customer because I fancy myself a good guy. I don't know if this conversation proves it, but like I don't want to rate them. I don't want it to be my job and my responsibility to determine their fate because that makes me feel bad, right? And so that's a legitimate concern too. And now that we all know that could cost people their jobs, now I feel more stressed out eating out.
But
right?
whatever happened to, it shall reflect in the gratuity. That is how you rate your server. And if they know that they're getting low tips, then they know they need to make some adjustments. But there are some really mean people out there, and there are people who look down on servers and people who don't know. I personally, when I was out on the dating market, I would watch to see who I was with would treat a server, because that's very, that indicates how they feel about people and how they treat others. I just think we're giving the wrong people power.
A lot of power.
Did you see this thing about like conservatives getting really angry when a server says "no problem" instead of "you're welcome"? Have you seen this whole thing?
Oh,
I mean,
Jesus,
come on.
man.
You
But this is what it encourages.
You
This is the kind of thing.
Unbelievable snowflakes.
And
That's
I
the thing that triggered you?
Yeah. It's like you're saying, like, when you're like, "Thanks a lot," they go, "No problem." It's like, well, of course it's not a problem. I'm the customer, and the customer is the dictator.
Take it
of
back,
this-
Jane. Take it back.
Okay, super last thing. I'll give you guys this too. I once wrote a script. I put it into Project Greenlight. This was 1.5 million years ago, right? And everybody, there was 5 people who rated. It was a community rating system, and everybody really liked it. Oh my God, it's funny, this, that. Except one person hated it and gave it 1 star and killed it.
Yeah, so there you go. There you go.
So just desserts, okay? Double meaning.
Why are you trying to kill somebody's script, Jane?
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.